CNN is uncovering America. It's a new look at Asian American faces, people, and stories. Kwon won last season's Survivor in a competition that initially started off divided by race. He says that growing up, there were no strong Asian American role models on TV or in the movies, and he's determined to change that. We sent Yul to Hollywood to see how the entertainment industry is getting beyond the stereotypes.
I just couldn't relate to them because usually they're the cooks, or, you know, they were kung fu guys or the gangsters.
For generations of Asian American males, it's been rare to see realistic characters on the screen who look like us.
One of the first images I saw was Bruce Lee. And, you know, as much as I idolize him today, you know, when I was in 2nd and 3rd grade, he was the cause of a lot of bullying for me.
The roles have always been scarce and one-dimensional. And I think part of it is because men are viewed as a threat.
Jeff Adachi is producer and director of Slanted Screen, a documentary about the negative portrayal of Asian American actors. How realistically do you think Asian American men are portrayed in today's contemporary world?
We're seeing some progress with Asian female actors like Lucy Liu, Sandra Oh, but for Asian men, interestingly enough, there still seems to be a lack of real roles.
The issue is you got to have the writers and directors, because, you know, it's all well and good to say, you know, Hollywood, why don't you do more portrayals of us? Well, I don't know if Hollywood knows exactly how to do portrayals of us.
Writer and director Justin Lin is trying to change that. His breakthrough movie, Better Luck Tomorrow, shows complex characters who happen to be Asian American. How hard has it been to try to convince the studios to let you cast Asian American actors?
It's not a question of talent, it's a question of opportunity. What I've learned is that at the end of the day, it is business, you know, and when corporations are spending, you know, billions of dollars to make movies, they're not out there to take risks.
Actor Roger Fan has co-starred in several of Lin's films, but says opportunities like that are limited.
I'm an all-American guy. And it's weird, when I go into Hollywood, you know, the way the system is currently set up, I get pigeonholed into certain types of characters that are about as far from me as possible.
But there have been signs of change, most recently on television with Mazi Oka's popular character on NBC's Heroes, and Yoon Jin Kim and Daniel Dae Kim as a Korean couple on ABC's Lost.
You're seeing a depth to these characters that you might not have seen on any television show.
Do you think we're getting to a point where eventually we will have that breakout star?
It's going to take time for that actor or that group of actors to kind of emerge. It's not going to happen overnight. But, you know, with every positive representation or every real character that's on television, it's a major step forward.
Kwon joins us now. Great job on that piece, by the way. Did you have a fun time out in Hollywood?
I did. It was a blast.
What did you learn about the changes that we are slowly seeing, as he referred to in Lost, the two characters there, and in some of the other popular shows, when it comes to Asian American characters?
Well, I think it's terrific that we're starting to see more complex and fully developed characters on television. At the same time, I think it's clear that we still have a long way to go. If you look at the Asian male characters on Lost and Heroes, as popular as they are, they're still depicted as foreigners. They're Asians as opposed to Asian Americans.
Right, as in, would an Asian American actor be able to play a Brad Pitt leading male type of role without having to bring attention to the fact that he's indeed Asian?
Exactly. I think most of the characters you see on screen are still defined by their ethnicity.
Right.
I mean, I think these characters are fantastic because you're starting to see a longevity and a story arc and evolution to their personalities, but notably, they still don't speak English.
You know, and it's interesting because there was another high-profile firing when we talked about the Don Imus controversy and the comments that he made. Another radio show, The Doghouse with JV and Elvis, also with CBS Radio. They're no longer going to be broadcast after the outcries because of a prank phone call that was rife with offensive Asian stereotypes. Right. What do you think of that?
I think it's obviously unfortunate that this incident happened, but I'm actually very gratified to see that they were fired. I think as an Asian American, part of our community feels that because of the model minority myth, somehow it's okay to make fun of Asian Americans, that the type of response you get if you make fun of an Asian American in a public forum isn't the same kind of response you get if you make fun of an African American or some other ethnic minority. So I think it's high time that we get the same kind of response from the community as with other incidents like this.
And once again, it really has to do with whether or not representatives of the community speak out about it. This was an Asian American association that heard this in a replay. This had already gone on pre-Imus, and it just slipped under the radar. Right. And there was an outcry over that, as well as some of the comments that Rosie O'Donnell made in a joking way about Chinese.
Right. I think a lot of Asian Americans felt very offended by Rosie O'Donnell's ching-chong comments. And they were upset that there wasn't more of an outcry, that there wasn't anything more than a slap on the wrist. So I think this is, for a lot of people, a validation of the fact that we're still minorities in this country, and it's not okay to make fun of us.
What do you have for us tomorrow?
Tomorrow we're going to be exploring the glass ceiling for Asian Americans. So the fact is that a lot of Asian Americans are entering the workforce in high numbers, but if you look at the highest tiers of corporate management, we're still severely underrepresented. So we're looking at why is that the case.
Yeah, those numbers are startling, so we'll check out more of that. Also, Yule's interviews, by the way, can be seen on our website, CNN.com, easy for me to say, /American Morning. Yule, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Karen.
Hey, it's a really interesting series, and I love the photographs that Yule took that we highlighted last week as well.